Let's find a good old podcast. Drive through, no. Something to wrestle, no. Insight, no. Rasslin Report? What is this?
Hello, I would like to take you on a journey into the world of professional wrestling. This is the Rasslin Report.
Alright, hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Rasslin Report, where I talk nothing but my passion, and that's wrestling. I'm your host, John Ale, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this lovely Monday morning, Monday evening, however you're watching, wherever you're watching. I apologize, just to get all the elephants out of the room quickly. I did miss a week. I apologize for that. Spring break was really hectic for me, besides working and going back home to see some friends, to getting sick, to finishing schoolwork. It was really a hectic week, and something had to give, and I figured that maybe, not much would happen in the time period that I'm gone. Um, in the 1 week that I decided to take a hiatus. But man, oh man, oh man, do I have some things to talk with you guys about this week. We are building to WrestleMania, and we are building to WrestleMania quick. I'd like to center this week, the major theme really around it is betrayal. We got so much betrayal, and so many different heel turns, if you will. Many bad guys have been formed here tonight, and I am all for where they're heading with it. Especially one Randy Orton, which we'll get to. We will get to that. To me, that was by far the craziest moment of this entire week. But we're gonna break it all down in this kind of new format that I want to bring. I want to bring a different format to this podcast going into this coming back from a break. So hopefully that this will be a better sounding product overall. I'm always looking to get better. I'm always looking to sound better. Um, so your feedback is always appreciated for the people who have sent some feedback towards me and can help me benefit this podcast even more. So with that being said, after a week-long hiatus, we are back and we are ready to talk some wrestling. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the major thing that happened on Monday Night Raw this week. And the major thing that happened on Monday Night Raw this week, the most noteworthy thing, was the Holy Judgment Day turmoil finally coming to a blow. The Judgment Day betrays Finn Balor here. Something that I honestly thought they were going to wait until after WrestleMania maybe to start doing that. I didn't know if we were necessarily ready to do this yet, but I'm honestly here for it, right? I think we've needed to see a babyface Finn Balor for a long time. We've needed to see that good guy Finn Balor, and we're finally going to get to see it. And I think we're going to get to see a version of Finn Balor that we're going to really like. And it's one that I believe maybe because there's not enough, in my mind, there's not enough top good guys on Raw. CM Punk is your guy. CM Punk is your main guy. You got Jay and LA Knight. But I mean, that's about it. They're trying to build a new babyface up in the WWE, and this is what Finn Balor could do. with a babyface run. I think what we could do with a Finn Balor babyface run is give him some demon paint and let him bring out that demon one more time. If y'all don't know, Finn Balor's like notorious for having this alter ego sort of gimmick, known as the Demon Balor, the Demon Finn Balor. He just dresses up, all his face paint. He looks so cool every time he does it. So I'm hoping now that obviously the Judgment Day has betrayed him in such a vicious manner that he'll end up bringing back the demon maybe for WrestleMania against Dom. I think that's where we're headed. Finn and Dom at WrestleMania, I would imagine. I don't know for what title, because in that week hiatus that I was gone, Dominic Mysterio lost his Intercontinental Championship, so it wouldn't be for that anymore. So I don't know, other than a basic grudge match, and I'm here for it. I want to see what this can do. I think eventually, Dominic's going to be next, right? If we look at the history of the Judgment Day, eventually all the quote unquote leaders in a group with quote unquote no leaders ends up getting betrayed for whatever reason. Their leadership isn't working. It started with Edge in 2022. Then it went to Damian Priest in 2024, and now we've got Finn Balor. So every 2 years, it seems like every 2 years there seems to be a cycle, where a Judgment Day leader gets betrayed. So in 2028, Dominic, if you're still running Judgment Day, if Judgment Day is even still a thing by 2028, if you're still running it, you better watch out. They're probably going to turn their back on you. It's a 2-year cycle. That's something I've just put together in my head as I'm recording this. That's so interesting. Maybe that's, I don't know. But that's basically like our biggest takeaway, was that the Judgment Day is officially broken off from what we knew it as. So now it consists of really just Dom and JD and Liv and Raquel, the four of them. I don't really know who else is in the team, right? So maybe they'll recruit more. I don't know. But holy Judgment Day turmoil, brother. That's all I can say to that. And Finn Balor will eventually want to get his lick, his payback, if you will. It's going to be good. I cannot wait. We also featured on Raw tonight a women's 5-way gauntlet match. So, like, how this kind of works is, or 6, I think it was 6, not 5. So how it essentially works is you got 2 women to start, and then you have to beat them by pinfall, submission, whatever. And then if you're victorious, then you got to face the next person that comes in. So essentially, if you're to start this gauntlet match, you have to pin or submit every single person in the field to win. You have to just keep pinning and pinning. If you get pinned, you're eliminated. So it's constantly like a one-on-one match, and whoever can best the other gets to move on. So anyway, sorry, I'm also sick. If I didn't already mention that, but I'm getting over whatever sickness I have. So if I clear my throat a lot, that's definitely why. But this match was okay. I think the crowd for sure was dead, man. Like, the crowd for this show was not here for it. They were not here for professional wrestling. I don't know what they were here for, but they didn't show up for anybody, really. It wasn't even just this match, but I believe all the women in here have the proper stones, the guts, the resume to go up against AJ Lee for her first Intercontinental title defense, which she said that she would be ready to defend at any point. So this is what this match was essentially setting it up for. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Bayley ended up seizing this opportunity, which I like. I like Bayley getting this spot because Bayley and AJ sounds really intriguing to me. And I think they know that. So that's what really drives it home to me.
you've got two absolute trailblazers of the women's division in WWE, and they're gonna go against each other. They never had the chance to go against each other. I feel like they just barely missed each other in this line of work. You know, AJ Lee was getting out of there when Bailey was just getting in. So this is a really intriguing match for the IC title. Obviously, Bailey's probably not gonna win just yet. AJ Lee's not gonna lose her title just yet. But I like the matchup. You know, we want to see AJ Lee in all these different dream matchups now that she's back, and now that maybe Becky Lynch is on the back burner for now because she became the Intercontinental Champion. So I really like this decision. I'm excited to see when or where they'll do it. I don't know if it'll be on a Raw or at WrestleMania, or if we'll get AJ Lee and Becky Lynch again at WrestleMania. I'm not sure. But overall, I like this match. Gauntlet matches don't happen often, so they're pretty neat to have happen. And I don't know. I'm not mad at the winner here. I'll see where it goes. But then I want to start talking about Danhausen. So Danhausen, man, he has made a believer out of me. In this 1 week, I fully want to buy what Danhausen's selling. This guy is so organic. He's so unique. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a gimmick quite like his, a character quite like his in my life. And I've seen a lot of different characters. But he's just so unique. And like he makes everyone around him almost break character sometimes. I can tell it at points. He's got like an accent to him which is really funny. And so he just goes around backstage going after like the bad guys of the brand, like El Grande Americano and the Miz, and just like cursing them left and right. And I think it's really funny. I encourage you to look up some Danhausen stuff since he's been here. Or if you want, you can look at his stuff from AEW. Like the stuff with Hook comes to mind for me. That stuff was really funny. But overall, I like where they're heading with him. Obviously, this is kind of the niche he can fill, and he does a great job at doing that. It's only a matter of time before him and R-Truth interact, the two comedy characters of the WWE, really. Oh, that'll make for some gold. That'll make for some real comedy gold. But this is a nice way to get him kind of started here. I imagine maybe his first match will be against The Miz. I'm not sure yet. I don't know who his first match will be against or when it'll be. We don't really know. We're just kind of getting everybody introduced to the character of Danhausen, and more than likely, what can we expect from him, right? And the answer is just a bunch of chaos. He's a harbinger of chaos. So I like this idea. I like how they're starting to go with him, and I'm curious to see more Hausen. Curious to see more Hausen. But that basically sums up Raw. Yeah, we're gonna go quick. These episodes are gonna be a little quicker nowadays. Because I wanna have more time for discussion and kind of feel, because everything else I'll touch on briefly. But it's just, to me, I want to just experiment a different style and see how this works. But we move to SmackDown, and we kick off the show with Drew McIntyre, quote unquote, quitting the WWE. This, again, I missed a lot in 1 week. In the week that I was gone, Cody Rhodes ended up defeating Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. That match was set up at the Elimination Chamber, if you remember. Nick Aldis and Drew were yelling at each other, and Nick Aldis sets up that match because Drew decides he wants to interfere in the chamber. So this match is set up as a result of that, and Cody Rhodes becomes the WWE champion, and as a result of this, Drew McIntyre is not happy at all. He is on the announce desk, he's calling out Nick Aldis, he's upset about how things have went, and he demands that Aldis make it right. Aldis comes out and says there is nothing that can be done to make this right. What is done is done. Your actions have consequences, Drew. You have to own them. And then while they're talking, Jacob Fatu comes out, and these two have had a problem for a hot minute. And Jacob Fatu says if there's anybody that you're going to blame for any of this that's gone wrong, it's me. Because I'm the one that screwed you. And I'm the one that screwed you out of your WWE Championship with Cody Rhodes. Call it a taste of revenge, comeback, payback, if you will. Jacob Fatu said, if you want to do something about the fact that I betrayed you, why don't you do something about it? And Drew did nothing but quit. Quote unquote, quit. And he said, no, I quit, I'm out of here. But I'll tell you exactly why he didn't quit. We'll get into why he didn't quit. Because he just did not quit. But we also get an appearance from Jelly Roll, right? I imagine maybe he'll have a match at WrestleMania. He was in a segment with The Miz on Miz TV, and he was just talking with The Miz, and out comes Kit Wilson, the true real man, talking about how Jelly Roll's toxic, as he should, because he's Kit Wilson, right? There shouldn't be any conversation about that. Jelly Roll was being offered to be mentored by The Miz, as if Jelly Roll needs mentoring, at least in music. He doesn't need mentoring. I don't think he would need mentoring in the wrestling ring, because I guess Randy Orton taught him everything he knew. But then again, Randy Orton is not to be trusted. Theme of this week. But Jelly Roll gets a clock in on The Miz. He punches him right in the face. And I imagine maybe we'll get some sort of match at WrestleMania with Jelly Roll and The Miz. I don't know. But it's clear that either Jelly Roll, the WWE, or both want to see Jelly Roll back in the ring. So I believe that we'll start taking some steps to make that happen. I don't know. But then we get to the meat, the gravitas, the biggest story of this week, and I can't emphasize it enough. Randy Orton has turned heel on Cody Rhodes. Unbelievable. The segment started respectfully, with both men acknowledging their history together with Legacy and, all the moments that they shared together, and Cody finishing the story at WrestleMania 40 with Randy Orton looking at him like a proud father. All these great moments. And they talk about how this WrestleMania main event is going to be different. It's going to be writing a different chapter into the story of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. It's going to be one where it features two of the very best. And one of them is that 14-time world champion, that Viper, that apex predator. And the other is that unstoppable, the undeniable superstar, American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. It's really a beautiful tale. If you have been a fan of wrestling long enough to see Cody when he was a lackey in Legacy, to seeing him now in this main spot, and see Randy Orton as this young looking kid to now this wise, buff veteran, this is what watching wrestling is about. You get to see these things change over time. It's beautiful to see. But, I mean, after signing this contract, this was really a contract signing for the two of these guys at WrestleMania, Randy Orton heard some voices in his head. I hear voices in my head. It sounded a lot like they used to in 2009. They counsel me, they understand. In 2009, I would encourage you to do some research. This guy did not give a shit. They talk to me. Randy Orton was hearing those voices in his head, and because of that, he decided to act on them. He hits Cody over the head with with the desk the contracts were on, and kicks him in the nuts. I don't know how many times Cody Rhodes has been low blowed since he's come back to the company, but it's becoming an uncomfortable amount. You know, last year it was John Cena. This year it was Randy Orton. I'm sure The Rock did it. I'm sure Roman did it. I don't really know. I'd have to look into it really, but Cody Rhodes' nuts have been a target a lot of the time. But Randy Orton, I mean, he just starts beating the shit out of Cody Rhodes. I mean, again, if you've watched any of his tape in 2009, you can realize that this is the Randy Orton of old. This is a Randy Orton that we used to fear as kids. This was the Randy Orton that, used to hate. You used to hate this Randy Orton. Now, as grown adults, we love this Randy Orton because this is the best Randy Orton there's ever been. And Randy Orton is a sadistic, cruel heel. He is at his absolute best. And I can already tell this has potential to absolutely cook. And I don't know where the payoff will be come WrestleMania. But I think Randy Orton should win number 15 here, right? Like, this is a pretty monumental shift. And I think if you eventually want to tell the story of Cody Rhodes one day being a bad guy, then I think it starts with him losing this big match at WrestleMania to Randy Orton and becoming the 15-time champion. I don't know. But one of the coolest parts of this entire heel turn really was Cody just a bloodied mess. His blood just all over his shirt. And rarely WWE likes to show blood. It's like a complete opposite thing with AEW. You know, AEW, it's rare that they don't show blood. The WWE is different, right? They're a different kind of production. Not good or bad, not better or worse, just different. So when bleeding happens in the WWE, it feels more special because it doesn't happen a lot. It feels like something's 10 times worse than normal because of the fact that the person's bleeding. But this was definitely savage. I mean, Randy hits Cody in the head with the chair as that last final blow, and he is just laid out bloodied. There's some really great photographs of just Cody after all this is over and starting to recover after this absolute beatdown. He just looks destroyed. He looks gutted. He looks just defeated, right? He looks like a shell of the American Nightmare. And it's because of all this pain, all this betrayal. Like, I feel like if it's either that Cody's the problem or that everybody just wants to betray Cody Rhodes, right? You can say the same thing about Rey Mysterio with how many times he's been betrayed by people that are supposed to be his friends and all this stuff, but I believe Cody Rhodes is eventually going to snap. I eventually think he's had enough of all this betrayal. Is going to finally start to do it on his own. I believe he's going to snap. And I believe that moment comes when he loses that championship. Whether it be at WrestleMania or whatever time after it. I believe that eventually we'll be getting a Cody Rhodes heel turn, and all this stuff that has happened to Cody in the last few years is going to be ammo that is going to build up to that one day, that one moment, and there will be no looking back. And it'll be something, in my mind, that would have been deserved and built up over all this time. So, I see what they're doing. And I absolutely love it. And I hope Randy Orton can win number 15. Honestly, I'm rooting for him here. And I think a lot of the fans are. Because we've got 09 Orton back. You know, we've got that vicious Randy Orton back. But overall, man, WWE has been doing a spectacular job building this stuff up. I won't even lie to you. Like, when it comes to the major storylines, there's not a main event that I don't want to watch. There's not a story that isn't being progressively told. And I'm intrigued for what's to come. The Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill stuff. I didn't even mention the Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill stuff. Oh man, they've been going crazy at each other over Twitter, and you know the promos aren't matching the Twitter, and it's like I think they need to like maybe next week they go more crazy. But there's rumors, you know, that they've got some real beef going on behind the scenes, and we don't know that, right? All we know is that they're going to WrestleMania, and they're gonna make a lot of money in their women's title match. I don't know. They're either being real pros about it, which, I mean, I guess what Punk and Seth are doing, right? Because they apparently don't like each other either. And I get, you know, at any workplace, there's people you don't like and people that don't like you. That's just it's like any workplace, it's any space ever. I can't imagine, that doesn't exist. But I imagine also that they're professional enough to be able to do business. Because ultimately, that's what's going to make their pockets bigger than ever. So, Rhea and Jade on paper is a great match. And I just think it needs more gas on the fire. And I think they will eventually put more gas on the fire. But, Roman and Punk has already got gas on the fire because of, CM Punk calling out Roman Reigns' dead father, and the Usos, coming out to try and get him to apologize. I forgot to mention that too. Gosh, there's so much that happened. The Usos did end up beating up CM Punk because CM Punk said some shit about Roman Reigns' father when they were going one-on-one on the week that I missed. I missed a lot in the 1 week that I missed the Roman appearance. And Roman appearances are probably going to be few and far between on this road, right? So I really should have been on that one. I apologize. Gosh, it beats me up so bad about it. But once I get back into the flow of things, there won't be a problem here. So, with that being said, overall, I think we are on a good path to WrestleMania. I think there are interesting, compelling things going on. Even with the Americanos, right? We don't have Chad Gable trying to speak in Spanish all the time. He's speaking in English. It's obvious it's Chad Gable. Let's try to make it more obvious. I feel like they're actually even trying to tell more of a story with El Grande Americano, trying to give him more of a character. Because he's just another luchador. Fake luchador, really. So I'm glad that they're giving him some personality. Overall, I think WWE has taken a shift. I think they're starting to now finally tell some more creative stories. I think they're finally starting to delve into their more creative mind and starting to give us some stuff that is compelling and stuff that we can start thinking and talking about. Because that is what's going to drive WrestleMania home. And it's also probably because their ticket sales aren't doing too hot still. But hey, if they lowered the prices, that would fix anything, no matter what shit they'd put out. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess break into our brand newly edited and newly done segment, New Bread.
time, yeah!
Okay, so I would imagine that the biggest story of the week, and this could be debated, because I think are multiple. But the first major story of this week was that rowdy Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet, has arrived to AEW. And if you guys are not keeping up with AEW just had their AEW Revolution pay-per-view event just last night, and a lot of crazy things happened. One of them being the MJF and MJF death match with who did he fight? Anyway, I'll get to that later. I'm gonna look it up as I'm going here. But Ronda Rousey ended up coming to AEW and confronting Timeless Tony Storm. I don't know where we're gonna go from here. But I don't know how I feel about Ronda Rousey being back in WWE, or not in WWE, but just back in professional wrestling in general, because it seemed like she was very not happy with it, with her experience overall. And I'm just kind of shocked that, she'd make her way back to a wrestling ring. That's really what I'm trying to figure out. Oh, he fought Hangman Page. That's right. MJF fought Hangman Page in a death match. I mean, more power to him for doing crazy shit like that and bleeding and doing syringe spots and all this weird stuff. It's just not my cup of tea, I'm not there to watch brutality, right? Like WWE has gone that far maybe twice that I can think of in my 25 years of life. And one of them, believe it or not, involves Randy Orton. So I don't know. It's like WWE is more of a mainstream product. The Netflix, the family friendly product in a way. They're not family friendly. There's still things they do that aren't family friendly, but AEW's the opposite, right? AEW's your rated R wrestling. So if you like that, it's fine. And I tune into it because I like to be informed with everything, despite not keeping up with it all the way. But Ronda Rousey coming to AEW, I mean, I don't really know what that'll do, but I'm curious to see. Right? I'll keep my eye on it. Certainly keep my eye on it. But I don't know. Another thing that happened on AEW Revolution, another thing I should probably point out, is that Jack Perry has dethroned, up to this point, the first and longest reigning AEW National Champion, Ricochet, and a 21-man over-the-top rope battle royal. So he has become the second man to hold this belt. Ricochet was the first. Held it for a pretty long time. I mean, I'm here for it. I mean, Jack Perry. It seems like he hasn't been completely buried under the water for his real glass comments a few years ago. So glad to see he's recovered somewhat from that. So we're to the point where he's winning belts. That's all you can really say there. But we also have a Seth Rollins injury update. Although we have seen him on Raw the last few weeks with a bunch of masked figures, and him stomping out Paul Heyman, sending Paul Heyman to the EMT. We don't really know when Seth Rollins will return to action, right? For right now, this is just up in the air as to when we'll see him in a ring in a match. All we've seen him do is stomp guys out, right? So I don't necessarily know how they're gonna go about it from here, but I I really think they were gonna try and do Seth and Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed, but they both got hurt, so that changed everything up. I don't know what they'll do now. Um, they don't even have Paul Heyman anymore. The Vision's losing people every week. Surprised Austin Theory's still there. Like it's the Vision is literally now just consisting of Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Their fucking mouthpiece ain't even there for him anymore. Like it's crazy, bro. And Paul doesn't have an actual injury. That they were just doing that just to do that. But you know, it's like, gosh, you strip your team dry of everything that made it. But I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I don't know. Um, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm gonna close off my news break, and I believe that'll do it for this week of the Rasslin Report. I'd like to thank you all for listening again and for your patience. And I will continue pumping these things out, baby. Let's keep going. Woo!